You're still muted, Coach Aniekan.
I like your question, so please go ahead. I like the
Okay.
director. I was actually hearing everyone, but for some reason I just couldn't talk. I was in a muted room.
Oh.
So I like the question, so please go ahead with the question. When you're thinking about ambition and entitlement, I asked earlier on when we started the program, I said, when you hear ambition and you hear entitlement, because we're going to actually do a bit of research, what does that mean to you? I remember I was going to talk to that and I asked the same question. So please tell me, what does that mean to you? What does ambition, and if you want to Google it, you're free to do that. Google is your friend. What does ambition mean? What does entitlement mean? Let's define that. I know that I've shared a few of my thoughts, but let's go past that a bit and say, what does that mean to me? And listen, nothing is right, nothing is wrong. So we're not looking at right or wrong here. What does ambition mean? Let's start with that first of all. To you, how do you term ambition? Let's be interactive. I'm listening. Let me pull up my chat here as well. What's ambition?
Okay, hello everyone.
Hey, hi.
Don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, loud and clear.
Internet. Okay. Ambition can be said as a strong desire to do or achieve something. Okay. An intention, your goal, your objective, and so on and so forth.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Okay. Now that's kind of encapsulates the word ambition. So let's look at entitlement. What does that mean? What does the word entitlement? What does that mean?
Okay. Okay. Entitlement. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, sister. Go ahead, sister. Go.
All right. Okay. Entitlement is the fact that you have a right to something.
Okay.
Is there something like a right that you having a right to something?
Okay.
That's entitlement. Yeah.
Yeah, having a right to something that you don't have the right to it.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes.
Entitlement is you think that you deserve the things. You have the right to have that things, even though that things you know that does not belong to you. You see, it's just another way we can say it's like something that they may give it to you by grace. I can give an example for the children. When the children, they feel that they are entitled to it, to everything that you as parents, you have owned. They feel like that spirit of entitlement, that these things belong to them. When the things does not belong to them, they belong to their parents. So that is how I can define it, because I've been already living it in my house with my own children. I'm reporting them.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, we consider entitlement is something that we think I like the words that
Coach BB, coach is breaking and I think he's lost again.
Can we just go on while he's trying to get back?
Yes.
So he just got back into Canada. I'm guessing the Wi-Fi, there's a problem. So he's going to sort it out. But while we wait for you, very easy. Let's look at. Okay, he's back in.
Are you hearing me now?
We can hear you now.
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me?
But there's a big echo. There's a big feedback from your side.
Right. So what is likely happening is that some people are trying to They're welcoming me back to Canada in style. They want me to realize that I've left for too long, so I need to be on par with them, but all working together for good. Now, all that between Temitope and Giselle, what you said about ambition and about entitlement is very, very correct. It's something that now, is there any difference between having ambition and having an entitlement? Is there any difference? And if there's a difference, let's just shout it out. Yeah, there's a difference, and let's look at what the difference is, because we can't really break this down properly until we understand what's happening behind the scene. We need to know what's happening, and then we can now make that realistic for us. Make sense? So go ahead. Is there a difference between ambition and entitlement, even with the definition that we have put around it?
A big difference, coach. Very, very big difference.
All right.
Because
how would you define the difference between ambition and entitlement?
ambition is a strong desire that you have to achieve something. Typically, you are determined and you work hard for the things that you desire. You know, and your ambition
All right, now I don't know if it's me that lost you or you lost me or we lost ourselves.
Entitlement is like is not I'm not gonna put it in the category of ambition because it's two different streets that they are not together. Okay. What do I mean by that? Entitlement, when something does not belong to you and they are giving it to you, is like a service rendered, but you feel like you deserve to have it. You know, is another way I can say is like if I grace somebody, the person cannot feel like the grace I give to them, they deserve that grace. No, because there is some of the things you have to deserve to get it, to deserve it, that you work hard for it. Ambition is you have that desire to have something, like to have a house, to have a family, and now you have it. And the spirit of entitlement is to you, you feel like you're entitled to it. So those are two different things. They can't drive together.
All right, so I'm just going to define something here. So this is ambition, and this is entitlement. I hope you can see my board.
Yes.
All right, so this is you here, and as Giselle mentioned, it's a strong desire to get to a goal. So you want to go from where you are to a goal. The easiest way to define, to explain ambition and entitlement in the light of this, now let's leave anyone else out. You know, people feel that they're entitled to your time, they're entitled to your resources, they're entitled to your money. Let's leave that. So in ambition, I have determined the goal that I want, what I want. I want a new car, I want a new house, I want more money, I want a new job, a new business, or whatever it is. But you are willing to do whatever it takes to get there. Whatever it takes, you will do it. Entitlement is the same thing. You have a goal, but you are expecting Coach Aniekan, you're expecting Natalia, you're expecting Giselle, Bibi, all of you, expecting someone else to get you to that place. Someone said something to me some time ago, and it made a lot of sense. It says, it's like an African proverb. If you want to carry a child, if the child opens up his or her hand, it enables you to lift up the child. If the child puts down his or her hand, carrying that child will be next to impossible, except you want to hold the child out and you can hold the child. So sometimes, if you don't open up your hand, people can't lift you up, they can't help you up. When you feel you are entitled to something, you are entitled to someone's presence, someone's time, it could be your spouse, it could be your friend, the tendency for you to abuse it is very high. The truth is that the word deserve from my own vocabulary, just like the word pride or proud is out, the word deserve is also out of my vocabulary as well. I don't think I deserve anything, truly. I don't. You say, but you have worked hard. I don't. The only thing that I believe that maybe I would deserve is a slap on the head, a hit on the face, and maybe hell. I don't deserve it. That's why when you get something, the way you respond to it. Now, we need to understand how this ambition thing and this, how the entitlement thing, how they kind of coexist. Because if you don't, sometimes we, like someone said one time, I think it was that said that I expect my spouse to do this and this. That's an entitlement you are going into. Anything that you're expecting someone else to do that has to get you from where you are to where you want to be, it's an entitlement that you're thinking of. You say, okay, but he's my spouse, he's supposed to do it for me. No. No, not nobody, not your spouse, not your children, is supposed to, is bound to. They can do it, don't get me wrong. But when you start looking at them as you must do this, you will become an entitled mindset person. Once we can understand this difference, it's easy to do anything else about it. It's easy for you to check that out. When I feel that we need to lean towards entitlement, I kind of check myself and I pull myself out of that. No, I'm not entitled to that. So every time that you want to do something, you want to be something, you want to have something, and you feel that someone else has to do it. Sometimes we even turn that we feel that if someone else doesn't do this, I can never get that. That's also a very, very heavy duty entitlement. So understanding what you are entitled to, or what it means to be entitled, and then looking at what it means. Listen, for my ambition, because it's strong on me, if you decide to be a part of it, thank you. But if you don't, it makes no difference. It makes no difference. Whether you choose to be a part of it or not makes no difference. That is what makes it interesting. That's what makes it engaging. That's what makes it. And I hope you're still hearing me, right?
Yes, go on, Coach. We can.
That's what makes it lively, because you are looking at it as an add-on to me. So you are trying to lift up something from point A to point B, and maybe, I don't know, Giselle stops by and says, can I help you? You say, yes, so thank you. And they help you. It's not that she says, can I help you? And then you now put your hand at Kimbo and said, I'm glad you asked. And you step away for them to carry it. If I was Giselle, I'll leave it for you to carry. I came to help you. I didn't say, step aside, let me carry it for you. I said, I came to help you. And what about if 300 people are joined to help you? Or 400 people are joined to help you? Now, they can now come, and you were looking to take this from where you are to where your goal is. But they decide to say, okay, no, let us take it to, to this place. That's another problem. Let's take it here. That's another problem. If they come to help you and they decide to let us take it here, you have to stop them and say, sorry, if you want to help me, this is where I'm going to. Not here. Make sense? So you that is asking for help, or you that is being helped, also determines. So you don't. That's why if someone comes to help you and then you abandon it and leave it for them, what we eventually do is that they can take it instead of going to your goal. They'll go up north, and you can't tell them, why did you take it there? Let me come out from the screen and let's look at this objectively. So understanding that you have an ambition, you have a goal, you have something you want to be, something you want to have, something you want to do. It's good. But the question is, how do I make sure that I do not see myself as entitled to anything. And I'm sure that most of you have dealt with this before. So I'm going to kind of hear, and because when I was hearing the explanation, I know that you have either dealt with people who felt they were entitled. Giselle said her children sound like they're entitled. So what is I mean, how does it feel for you? Have you ever felt that you're entitled to something before? Yeah, I'm entitled to my peace of mind. So have you ever felt that you're entitled to something before? And is that actually wrong in itself? Okay, it seems that nobody's entitled to anything. So let me hear you.
Even we parents feel that we are entitled to our children taking care of us because they are our children and they are now wealthy, they've grown, they have the business. We feel that, okay, do you know what? I took care of you, I sent you to school, I paid your school fees. And the children said, Mommy, but you were supposed to do that. So we feel that, okay, now you are good. Now I think I can now sit down. That's what we call the fruit of our labor, though. But we see that as entitlement. That I took care of you, Mr. Man. I changed your napkins. I did that and did that. I sent it to school. Yes, but we feel too much entitled to that. That the children. But that's why most of the parents, women, the mother-in-law, have issues with their daughters-in-law because they feel that they are entitled to some things and they begin to have issues with their children's, their daughters-in-law. So sometimes we do that as parents, especially the mothers. We do that, and it's not a nice one. And
so hold on. This is my question now, because I know that I have parents on the call today. Is it right or wrong to feel entitled to your children doing something for you? Is it right? Is it wrong? And listen, there's no right or wrong answer to this, because every way you look, there's a bit of advantage and disadvantage. So as parents, are we entitled to anything from our children? Yes or no?
For me, no.
Okay, for you, no. Who else?
Well, to some extent, we feel like that, and I think so. To some extent, anything that is too much.
No. I want us to be very direct now. For you, I know you have 3 amazing children. So, do you feel entitled to some things from them? Yes or no?
No.
Do you feel entitled?
No.
So I get 2 no's now. Anybody who is saying yes, I'm entitled to. What about your spouse? Are you entitled to?
Yes, I'm entitled to.
Blessing says she's entitled.
Yes.
Amazing. Okay, wonderful. All right, who else? What about your relatives? What about your siblings? What about the government of your country? Are you entitled to good roads and clean water and power supply?
Yes.
So this thing about entitlement, where do we draw the line? Where do we say enough is enough, or this is how far it should go? Because it sounds that going from ambition to entitlement has a very thin line. That's how I'm hearing it now. Because if we define entitlement as I want to get to my goal and I feel that someone else should do it for me, someone else should provide it for me, someone else should give it to me, and we now turn and say, hey, listen, I think I'm entitled to something from my spouse, or something from my children, or some things from my government, or whatever it is, look at whatever it is. Is that also not a sign? Are you saying that there's a good entitlement and a bad entitlement?
Coach, if I might come in here, I think we need to always be subjective, especially where things are emotional. I think it's one of those emotional things. I'm struck, in awe if someone tells me they are not entitled to something from their kids. And I think the mistake might be that we're looking at financial help. I think it goes beyond that. My parents are entitled to my care and attention. They are entitled. My mom once asked me years back, he said, I know your dad is rich and is comfortable, is taking good care of me, but you see, you are now old enough to say, Daddy, take this regularly. He doesn't need it, but just do it. And even the holy books also.
But question, is that right or wrong? That's the question we're going to now.
Yeah,
you see,
so I'm saying,
come with me. We have grown up in a particular environment that certain things have, let me give an example. And I will use what someone told me recently. It says that a good man, and listen, my dad, my mom is out of, our parents are out of the question now because we can't even bring them to the table and say, my dad didn't do this, my dad didn't do that. That's crap, that's not on the table. But I believe that as scripture says that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. Let me try and define this entitlement. Once you begin to think you're entitled to something, you will be disappointed very strongly because that's where it leads to. Let me give you an example. When I heard this, it freaked me out, and I'm going to let you, kind of wrap up. One of my spiritual mentors said his wife, Sister Phyllis, just came one day and cleared out her closet. And she has not cheap clothes, gave out all her clothes, everything. Someone had told him, Brother Kid, do you see what your wife did? He said, what? She said she's cleared out her closet. And he said, well, that's good, she must be expecting. He said, that means you have to buy her clothes. And he said, no, I don't have to buy her no jack clothes. And the guy was rather shocked. I too was shocked when I heard it. You don't have to buy your wife clothes? He said, no. He said, I love her, I would buy her things, but if she's clearing her clothes because I don't need to buy her clothes, she would not get one single dress from me. So what the wife did was she cleared her closet, gave out her closet, and looked to God, and God brought her clothes in the droves of them. Now, if she felt entitled that because she did this, because I did this, because I did that, we are living in a world where we have set ourselves to become entitled to something, and it really stifles us. Let's go back to ambition. My ambition is to live well. My ambition is to do this or to do that. The question is this: as long as I'm not looking to you do that, if you don't do this, it means that you're not a good friend, and that's what we go to. You're not a good person, you're not a good this, you're not a good brother. I have told my sister no, not once, not twice. I told my parents no, not once, not twice. Not because I don't love them, but because back to what we're saying on Wednesday. If people make demand on you that you cannot, because you say, because of, and you bite more than you can chew, you're going to end up, and that's why most of us are struggling. It's interesting, but it's as good as looking at it. Listen, as long as you think you are entitled to anything, it doesn't matter who it is. The tendency to treat it with disdain is very hard, because if I'm entitled that I'm coming to Singapore, you're supposed to pick me up, and I don't know, you didn't pick me up. I was entitled, can you imagine? You were supposed to pick me up, you didn't pick me up. Guess what I'm going to do? It's not that I'm taking a cab down, film, my face will be high, I'll be fuming. So I don't want us to look at this outside the context of this. Someone said, I know Blessing said, she's entitled to this from your children. So take this home. If they don't do it, what will you do? You'll be upset with them. Can you imagine? I have heard parents say, you sucked this breast for 9 months. You sucked it for 2 years. And I asked the question, so what? I'm entitled to the government to create good. Listen, I was speaking with someone 3 months, 4 weeks ago. And he said something. He said, one of the things that brings stress on us is that we are depending on some other person to do something that will bring us comfort. He said that's why he lives in the house that he lives in. That's why he drives the kind of car that he drives. That's why he lives in the area that he lives in. Because whether you like it or not, I have to trust God to help me provide what he calls his basic amenities to bring him comfort. It didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen in 1 week or in 1 year. But it's brought him to that place now where he can comfortably say, hey, listen, I am where I am now. Now, does it mean don't take care of the elderly, don't take care of your parents? No, it doesn't mean that. But when you use the word entitlement, when they don't, that's the question. If they don't do what you think you're entitled for them to do, what would you do? And don't tell me I'll be happy. I'll just feel like one of those things in life. No, you will not be happy. You'll be disappointed. You will be upset. You will be livid. You'll be depressed. You will lament. I've heard people sit down and lament. Can you imagine my husband or my wife? He saw the plate, he passed it, or this. Once you don't look at, see, I arrived home yesterday safely, and when I came, I've jumped into the laundry. I'm doing laundry. I decided today, let me drive you to church and all that. Not because they're entitled to me. That's what I want to do. So I am not compelled to do what I do, because if I do it freely, that's the key thing. If I give what I give to you freely, that's when I get the blessing. But if I give because I have to do it, I am the firstborn, I am the born, I am the one that's richest in the house, and the one that's carrying them, you will go to what we're talking about on Wednesday, which means you will have to do things to show face. It's not doing from you anyhow. And I wish my parents were here, because I'll tell you openly, there was a time that I sent them money sporadically. When I sent it to them. Until that time when I said, okay, you know what, I'm going to put you guys on a standard minimum income to you. It's not because I'm entitled to it, it's because that's what I want to do for them. So let's understand it from that perspective. That's what I want to do for them. And when my mom now will ask me, I want to do this, I'll say, Mommy, you know what? I love you, you know that very well. But guess what? That's why I put you on a budget, because I cannot do more than I can do at a time. So this is what I can do now. If things open up tomorrow, I would be able to. So go back to saying no. I'm able to tell you, hey, listen, I would love to do this, but I just can't do it now. And that goes for any and everyone, because at the end of the day, my peace of mind is paramount. It's what we're looking at. So it's good to have children. It's good for children to do well. Let them do more than you. But please, 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 as parents, don't look to your children's wealth, whether it is money, it is resources, it is their connection, anything about them. Because as the parents, you have been encouraged to always be ahead of them, come rain, come shine, no matter what they make. As a man thinks, so he is. If you don't think like that, you'll be. I've seen people scrabble. I've seen men and women here in their 65 and their 80s go back to work. I've seen it. I mean, I go to Walmart, I see them, and I know that their age, they should have retired. But let us begin to use this. We're talking to Ngozi last time, and Ngozi said, hey, listen, I have a 5-year plan to retire. We should start to look at how to put some things around us so that we don't depend on the government. If the government comes up well, they do their part, all well and good. What is wrong with me? Because the government have left my road, I tar the road. I put water on the streets. We can do that. But if we don't look at that, we're saying, waiting, let's fold our hands. Can you imagine this kind of government? What kind of man did I marry? What kind of woman did I marry? She cannot even cook. Can you imagine? It is mama put that we are eating. It is. Once you remove the word entitlement from your vocabulary, it is very easy to receive anything. If they give you, you are grateful for it, and they would pick anyone that gives anything will know. But if you feel that you're entitled to it, it doesn't matter who it's coming from. It goes to that word I told you, the word deserve. Do you know that me and you, who are Christians, what all we deserve was hell? You say, but now that we are saved, and now that Jesus is now our Lord, what do we? Listen, I still don't deserve heaven. Someone made it possible. So it's not, deserve means I've earned it. Because I'm a citizen of, because I was born of, because I am skin of, because I went to school here. No, I don't deserve anything. And that's what maybe that's what someone said I was aging back, and that's what has kind of given me a bit of perspective to life. That listen, now, they say that, Dee will say something to me, say, abuse is abuse in any language. There's something that are good. but they are robbing the best that can be. If we plan as parents, as men and women, to be entitled to nothing, but to enjoy everything, it will free you. Many of us are ill today because someone didn't do something some time ago, someone said something some time ago, and we have bound that mistake on them, and we have lived like that. And that's why I was listening to one lady today, and she talked about stress. She said, once stress comes into your life, what happens is that it reduces your immune system. It lowers your defense. Everything becomes possible. There's no one that either your uncle, your auntie, your father, your mother, your brother, your sister did not do something terrible to. But we still talk about it today. Because even though we say we have forgotten about it, we still feel that, can you imagine? Let unentitlement become your new norm, so you can embrace certain things graciously and holistically and live well. So if your parents do something for you, be glad. I have heard who was telling me recently that the boy said that what happened? He has a father. Why should his father have done this after all? And someone said he didn't put you in school. He said yes. That's the most he could have done for you. What have you? It was Pastor Martin. I was saying, what have you done with what they gave to you? There are some people that didn't go to school and they came up. I remember someone, what's this person, a friend of mine, whose parents passed when he was young. He had to work to raise his younger ones. And I tell the person, if you now think that now that you have raised them, they should now, every time they have a need, they should give to you because you raised them, then you are missing it. Is it not a Yoruba adage that says the hand that is given always is on top? Is it correct? If your hand is always on top, at what time will the person you are giving to now have hand on top? Then you must have either dropped the ball or something happened as it is. So let's understand that you deserve you can have the best in life, not because you deserve it, not because you're entitled to it, but because, I don't know, because it's you, because God loves you. And when you approach it like that, even when God gives you something, nothing matters what you said again this morning. He said, the way that we treat people is the way that we'll treat God as well. If we believe in people, if we appreciate people, if we are thankful for what people do, it's the same way we'll do with God. And I'm like, I kind of wrestle with it. How does that really, come together, Pastor? But I then realize that if you don't love the man or the woman that you see, you can't say you love God that you don't see. So look at that word entitlement and look at it in there's no good entitlement. Maybe I should put it like that. I've not seen any. I stand to be corrected, but I've not seen any. I'm not saying someone is entitled, that is entitled that, I was entitled to as a Canadian, so I'm entitled to good health. There's nothing like that, really. Because I've seen crappy health. Okay, I've seen crappy health response. I've had to go to hospital and wait for hours. So if I kept on shouting, I'm entitled, and I slapped my chest, I would miss the point. Make sense? So let's understand it from that perspective. Keep your ambition high. You are the giver. Your hand will always be on top, they say. Keep it like that. Trust God to increase. You are given this level to be bigger than life so that you can constantly keep on being a blessing to everyone around you, not because they're entitled or because you have to do it, but because you want to do it. Because I have to do it and I want to do it. Now, how does that come into selective memory? What is selective memory in the first place? When I choose to see something alone. I'll give an example. You give me a glass of water that is half. and I say the glass is half empty. That's how I choose to see it. Someone says, someone comes to me and tells me, their journey, how they came to America, and how when they first came, they went through a lot of suffering. Someone stole from them, and now they learned this principle and they have put it to use and see where it's taking them to. But all that you heard was that someone did them wrong. That's what selective memory means. For you to be holistic about your approach to anything, you must look at it holistically. Sometimes we read a message and we only see what we want to see in the message. Now, is this right or wrong? We'll subject that to debate. When you are selective in the things you choose now, can that be right or wrong? Sometimes I can say to myself, I had a bad experience yesterday, or I had a good experience, and I want to kind of zero in on the good experience I had on my flight, for instance. And I can be selective, but I can also be selective in a negative way. Jenkins did me wrong, and therefore, Jenkins, don't go to him. Selective memory can work for us if what we're looking at, and this doesn't have a right or wrong per se, but if you are selective in your memory, make sure it is a place if you go to, it will inspire you, it will motivate you, it will put wings under your wing. If not, then you are selective to your own detriment. When you read an article, what do you see? When I read, and interestingly, I told you this before, every time that I go to an article and I read something, I'm always having challenges, you might say. I want to do something, I want to build this, I want to write this, I want to create this, I want to do this. So when I pick up anything to read, I am looking at something that will spur me up to do that. Not something that would discourage me from doing that. That's number one. Number two, sometimes I can look at an article and the only way that I see is that I have to put someone else down so I can go on. I stay away from that as well. So it's critical that when you're being selective, look for things that will inspire you, not things that would demote you. For instance, Jenkins did me bad. I don't know. Well, that's just Jenkins. I don't know what was going through his mind, but that's on him. That's not me. So I can keep moving. Let your selective memory, let it work for you. Let it work in you. Let it work through you. Don't let it be a disadvantage. So look at your life in the last 1 week, in the last 1 month, and ask yourself, when I hear something, what thought comes to my mind? Women are very wicked. It's true. Very true. Men are very hopeless. It is very true. Nigerians, don't leave your money with them. It is very true. You cannot be saying that except you are selecting some memory. Because to say Nigerians are means that you too are. And you say, no, I'm not. Then it means that the word Nigerians are is not correct. Yeah, there's some men, there's some women that have done this. Just when we're talking about men and women, and you need to understand it from that perspective. Once you put it in general like that, then you have lost the essence. So make sure that you are selecting memories or events or activities that would inspire you. Not the one that would, listen, this one I'm telling you, I'm not telling you a story. I've suffered. One time I would say, you guys said I would not make it. Come and see me now. Come and see me now. That's crappy. Who can see me? Who has that time to be seeing me? Come and see come and see how far I've gone. I've made progress. It's not relevant. I don't need that. I'm not competing with you. You're not my contest. I'm not contesting with you. I'm not trying to outdo you. You're not trying to outdo me. I'm trying to outdo my yesterday, my last week, my last month, my last year. This race that I'm running, I'm the only one on the track, in this track of life that no one else is running your journey, running your race with you. It's you alone on the journey. So when you start to look at someone else and say, can you imagine they want to spoil mine, they want to, maybe you sense you have lost focus completely. So your life's journey is not about someone's input or output. If Jenkins was supposed to do something for you and they refuse, guess what? Jandor will get up, or Tunde will get up, or Tony will get up. Someone else will do it, because I was not depending, I wasn't entitled that he has to do it. So let your selective memory, I'm going to just pause here and kind of hear your, I can imagine what's going through your mind. But let your mind come back on this. What kind of memory have you been housing? And I know someone that has chosen to free her mind, free to free herself. Listen, you don't owe me anything. Someone did something for me in the plane yesterday. I was like, I told her thank you. She nearly jumped out of the window. She didn't think it was anything. I said, no, I truly appreciate it, because I wasn't expecting anything to come from you, although you are supposed to be the hair hostess. I don't. I told my pilot thank you yesterday. But it's paid to flight. So what? Once you can start to live like that, trust me, you want to be free in the true sense of it. You want to reduce stress or stop stress at the door. That's where it starts from. So if I do something for you and don't tell me thank you, it doesn't bother me a bit. But what it does for you is this: you won't get that kind of opportunity anymore. You won't have anybody do anything for you like that anymore. Why? Because there's a law that you have now violated. If I appreciate what I get more. If I don't get more. I get less of the get nothing. Make sense? So you have to understand that entitlement, you can. Trust me, you can choose to feel entitled to anything. That's your cup of tea. But in the true sense of it, I'm entitled to nothing. Not from my wife, not from my friends, not from my partners, not from my colleagues, not from the people I work with. So if they don't do it, nothing spoiled, as they say. If they do it, I'm all grateful. Google, I'm not talking to you. Shut your mouth. But that's where I want to say. I'm going to kind of open it up. I'm going to come out. What time is it now? Okay, 48. We have like 12 more minutes. So go ahead. Let me hear your thoughts for those that are either entitled or you're not entitled. But let me hear your thoughts.
So, Coach, well,
go ahead.
I'm pondering on what he said, and I accept to an extent where I think the problem is not the normal entitlement or ambitions. Okay. I think it's when we don't see it relative to the other party. For example, okay, I think it's safer when we decide, or we agree, we understand what others are entitled from us. And I mean this in this sense. You have someone employed, they are entitled to their wages because it's a contractual agreement. So they are entitled to you doing it at the right time. But if you are the one employed, if you decide to say, I'm entitled to my wages or to a particular amount of wage or commission, and you are not given, then you might begin to feel bad. So in the place where you are the receiver, it's safer to say, this is my entitlement. If you look at the word entitlement, it is a right. But when you talk about the feeling of entitlement or entitlement mentality, that's when the connotation comes in. So when it's your right, for example, government is supposed to provide good roads. So it's your right because you pay your taxes. But when government does not do it, and all you do is to murmur and complain, and the roads are spoiling your cars, they are getting people killed, then you might need to say, it's our entitlement, but we will not hold on to that. We will go ahead and do what is right by stepping into the gap. So just like parents will be entitled, I still think that parents are entitled. I think the Holy Books also allows children to take care of their parents. But
what verse? What verse? What chapter?
I can't think of a verse over my head.
So check.
Remember where? No.
Check.
I'm not a pastor.
To check.
Coach, 1 minute, coach. I'm not a pastor, and I don't want to argue about the Bible. But I know that anybody that's read the Bible here will remember when the Israelites were making excuses of not giving their parents, saying, "What I was supposed to give to you, I have given to God." The teacher there said, "No. What you're supposed to give your parents, give them. Tithe what you're supposed to tithe to God. Don't make that an excuse not to provide for your parents." And what I mean by that is this. A parent can say, yes, I sent you to school, I took care of you, you grew up, I need affection or I need care. You're supposed to give me attention. But if you don't give me, I would also provide for that as well in my old age. All right? So I think that's what we should look at that. I'm saying that personally. That's my own view of life. That I believe my kids, when they grow, they should give me some time, not all the time, sometime, once in a while. But guess what? I'm also planning that my grandchildren
Coach, forget about that.
should be able to come.
What did you say, Joseph?
I wouldn't forget about it. You know why? Even
Don't,
now.
I don't want Coach to think the kid will give him time.
Yeah, even now, I realized when we lost our last born in the house, I was not so much with my parents. I wasn't coming up often to see them. But when we lost that youngest guy who was always with them, I sat myself down and said, look, you now need to see them more often. Because there was nobody closing that gap anymore. There was a gap. But they were not demanding. They were not asking. They're not saying, come and see us. No, they don't say that. In fact, they will tell you, oh, I know you need time for your family. But I didn't need to deceive myself. I saw it as an obligation as well. So what I'm saying is this. We have to take that balance. You made an example of, if I do something for someone, the barest minimum is a thank you. Now, when they refuse to say thank you, oh, I'm not going to bother myself. I'm not going to get angry. But guess what? Let's be frank. If you do something you know you went out of your way to help someone do, they refuse to say thank you, it means they don't appreciate it. Even if they do, they never said it. All right? So you will assume they don't appreciate it. Guess what? You won't easily go out of your way next time. Let's not paint anything in gold. You will not, anybody that experiences that, the first reaction will be, next time you may not easily run to help out anymore. You might still help, but it won't be as urged as before. That's the truth. Now let's remember we're human. It won't be that exact way anymore. Before my brother died, he's a very quiet person. If you buy him something, all he will tell you is thank you. He may not wear the thing. If you buy him a slippers, he may not wear it for a long time. One day I now asked him, why don't you use those things? He said, bros, I just didn't want to tell you. I have a few and they're okay. So I found out that it was not as he don't appreciate it. So he would say thank you. But it wasn't so much into that flair of doing some things. So from that time on, I'll probably look out and say, what do you really want before I will purchase? Because I will feel bad. I went out of my way to get the best and we're wearing it. And that's where understanding needs to come in. Ambition, your ambition, I think, and I agree totally. Our ambition, like the word defines it, it's your strong desired approach to achieving something. It could be negative, like Hitler. Because once the reason behind an action is wrong, most times you find out that action too might not really come out that well. But if your ambition is good, you put it like Aniekan taught, you know, on the looking at your passion, looking at your desire in life, look at your values, and you make those goals. Once you set that in motion, guess what? Where entitlement now becomes a problem is where you now are applying the entitlement to yourself and saying, I want to move from point A to point B. And by obligation, my wife, my husband, my sister, my friend, my coach, my mentor, my protege, my church member, my pastor, supposed to help me achieve this. Sometimes they even promise to help you. Sometimes they even promise, say, bro, let's do this. We are in it together. Let me give you a typical example. Someone loses their parent, maybe mother or father, at the tender age of 10. And your uncle or auntie came and said, don't worry, I'll be your father and your mother. You know, that's confidence for a child. But they didn't tell you life will happen. when they are not there, tendency is to begin to look at them and say, you promised me. So you are entitled to, because they promised. You didn't ask them, they promised. But guess what? Once you set ambition, and that's how I look at my life. Once I set ambition, I tell myself, whoever is supposed to help out, if they don't worry. Like you said, once there are not too much expectations, there won't be much disappointments too. So I excuse people, myself. Reason is this, not because I don't have the right. Sometimes it's even contractual. Sometimes I've agreed with them. Sometimes those people are paid to do those things. But I learned from my business, my job, that even paying someone doesn't mean they're going to do what they promised. So what I've learned to do is also not to expect too much from them. So when they don't do it, I make other arrangements ready. I make other arrangements ready. Like we all know, I always tell people when I teach or I joke, I say life is not fair because everybody has a different complexion. So life is not always fair. What I mean by that is, we might say life's supposed to treat us this way, but what if it doesn't? What is assured is what we demand of life. So for ambitions, I would agree totally that on that path to the goal, to that ambition, whoever comes on, beautiful. If nobody comes on, be your lone ranger. If people come on, go ahead. If your brothers come on, go ahead. If not, find friends. Make them better than brothers. Achieve your goal. But where you think you are entitled...
question. So because of time, question. Are you an entitled person? Yes or no?
In this context, no. I take it off me because, but I respect when I'm obligated to other people's entitlement. I try to respect.
Okay, so you talked about contractual. That means I have a contract. Just go ahead. You have a contract with someone that if they do this, you will pay them. Now you have a contract agreement, so you're honoring that part. So they're not entitled to it. That's what you agreed to do. So remember, for it to be entitled, it means I have decided to buy a car, and I feel entitled that you should buy me a car.
That's what I said in that context.
But if you have an agreement with me and say, bros, if you coach my staff for 6 months, we will buy you a car. That's not an entitlement anymore. That becomes an agreement.
But coach, when it comes to things that are not physical, for example, a husband and a wife, it's believed, I believe it's standard, that you are to provide emotional support, provide physical support.
Who said that? Who said that? Really? You have to provide what? Who said
coach,
that? The woman should be the one that will cook. The woman should be the one that will cook.
No. I'm not saying where it comes to the physical.
Where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line?
Yeah, coach.
So we marry people because we want them to be our emotional cushion.
No, coach, listen to this. And I don't want us to take it to cultures because cultures will bring differences. But it's known that why do you marry? Companionship, procreation.
Two things. Procreation and companionship.
Beautiful. Companionship.
Where is love?
In companionship, what does it do?
Companionship says, so let me go back to original. It says it's not good for man to be alone. Alone about what? About what he's doing. So he brings him a helpmeet, not a emotional support. He brings him a helpmeet for what he's doing. Hear me out. Let's go to the original. Let's not see. Listen, we have a lot of things that come into our life that unconsciously govern the way that we act. But let's not say, I don't want to say it is the right way to do it. Because if I go to the original, really, why do you get married? I remember one of Tyler Perry's movie. Why did I get married? I was looking for emotional support. Listen, when you want to marry, you have to be 100%, not 75%. I'm looking for someone to complete me. No, sir. No, man. You must be, listen, you must be a person.
Because I don't want us to drag it far. But when you say it's for helpmeet, what should the help be?
What is the man? That's why a man without a vision doesn't need a helpmeet.
So when the other partner does not help what the other person is doing, are they meeting up to what they were meant to do? I think there's always an obligation for everything we do. Just like our obligation towards God is to worship God. There's always an expectation, sir. And when that expectation,
who sets the expectation? Because I have women who don't care. When I say don't care, they are doing well. So they don't need, listen, they will stand with you, they will pursue your goal, but they don't need, listen carefully, they don't need your equilibrium to be complete. I've also seen men and women, hear me out, who are parasites, who are looking for someone to leech onto so that they can become, they can have, they can do. You need to understand where it breaks, because if you come and say, hey, listen, that I married you, so ask yourself, and this thing differs for us, why did you get married? Most of us that married out of the context of what marriage was supposed to be, we didn't find it funny at the end of the day. So
yes.
when you say, I hear yes. When you say, why did I get married? If you're looking for marriage because you're looking for emotional support, you're looking for this or for that, we end up at the end of the day stalking the person for that thing. Because whenever you find into something, it's what you will look for. Some men have said, I don't want to be sleeping around, so let me marry, and they have turned their wives to sex machine. So yes. The question is this: when you come into a marriage or a union or a partnership, what you are thinking when you came in is what you'll be looking for in that thing, whether it is good or bad. So when you understand it from that perspective, look at Jesus. He was complete in himself. So he didn't need to. That's why he was not clinging. Whether my spouse goes out, doesn't go out, to irrelevant. Whether she makes more money than me, is irrelevant. Whether she's now the guy at the top, is irrelevant to me. Because it's not the reason that I married her wasn't because of that. When we understand that, it's easy for us, and sometimes we need to unveil some things to go to the cause of why we think the way that we think. It doesn't make it right or wrong. It is working for you all well and good. But when people tell me now I want to get married, I say, why do you want to marry? Why do you want to marry this person? Why not this person? And when I start hearing, this person look at the way she talks, look at the way he carries himself, he has a steady, he has this one. I say, what about if that thing misses, that thing finishes tomorrow, what happens? It will affect the way you feel about it. Let's be very frank. You say we're humans. So if I married you, listen carefully. Why did I get married? I wanted to serve someone. And I do that anytime, and I don't feel an obligation to do it. So which means, let me tell you this, I say this on air. Do you know there was a time that for 3 years I didn't have sex with my wife? And I didn't feel anything. That's why I married her, so I didn't feel anything. But if it was because I felt, I have someone to, then I would have she would have become an enemy, because she's not doing what, in quote, was obliged to do. That's what the challenge is. When I don't expect you to come at anything, I don't want you to, listen, I married you because of you. That's it. What can I do to make your life better? That's my goal. That's what I come into it with. I don't care what you give me. I don't care what you do or don't do. It's what I do. Remember what I said some time ago? I get rewarded for what I do, not what you do. So if we agree that it means I'm not entitled to anything, I do that. That's why Jesus could have married any woman on earth. They'll live happy about it. Because he wasn't coming there to say, so you're the wife, so come, as the wife, you have to wake up in the morning and do this. He gets with the money, he will do what he needs to do. He didn't look at it from that perspective. He looked at it as someone that I can serve. So guess what? Once it is like that, you approach, whether it is your business, it is your colleagues, it is what you do, you come there to serve. There's nothing that is too big, there's nothing that is too small. I have worked where I served at the lowest scale, at what people will say, you. But you see, it's not if your attitude, if your heart is to serve the woman or the man that you are getting into union with, or your partners are in business with, trust me, nothing is too big, nothing is too small. But if it is the fact that I want you to do this, I want you to do this, when I feel horny, I want you to be ready for me, I would always have a problem, because we are humans. For 3+ years, it did not bother me. And I wasn't, looking out and saying, oh, nice mom. I wasn't doing that. I completely shut that out. People wonder, people were surprised. I said, but it didn't, listen to me, it did not, I did my finest work at that time. It wasn't a hindrance for me, because I don't expect anything from her. That's the truth. That's the truth, simple truth. It has freed me to do a lot of things. Otherwise, if I kept looking at people and saying, if I do this, just like you mentioned that, if I do something to you and you don't appreciate it, I will not do it again. I did it for you not because I wanted to appreciate. I did it for you because I was instructed to do it. That's the first thing. So if I'm instructed again, I'll do it. Again, I'll do it. Again, I'll do it. And I've done that. People have called me MEMU. I've done it. I've done it until the one that told me to do it said, I think it's okay. Then I stopped. Make sense? And that's why I want us to come from. Whatever it is that people you are involved with, if you think that you're not entitled to anything with them, it will free you to really serve them. And trust me, service is the rent we pay to stay on earth. Now, I know time is fast spent. 5 minutes is gone. I wish we could, kind of push this in and in, but let's take that to bed tonight for those of you who are in Africa and in Europe. Let's take that to bed. You in North America, you have a few more hours to ponder. Let's take that to bed and look at that from your perspective and say, listen, now, I'm not saying take what I said because I said it. I'm not saying throw it out either. Do your research, find out. Check. And then, so when you're talking about it, you're talking from a place of conviction, not a place of I was told to do something. I've not been told to do anything and I did it. That's the truth. I've been instructed to do something and I will do it out of instruction, out of fear that they don't. But trust me, you want to serve people from your heart. That's what will give you freedom. That's why you would get up tomorrow and decide, say, I decide to die tonight. Trust me, I would have no regrets. Why? Because when the day came, I served to the largest that I could do, expecting nothing from anyone. And that's true. I want to be stress-free. I don't like stress, so I don't like trouble. I don't like to lower my immune system. I like to be full of life, and that's what I do. And that's what has given me the kind of health, the kind of what I have now. And trust me, it is where you'll be able to do the best work you can do. Remember what I said? If you have one, and you're supposed to give it to say Temitope, and you go and give it to who is there, to Giselle. Although you have done something well, there's no reward for that because the instruction was to give it to this person, was to do this. So if you follow the instruction, it will give you peace of mind. If you learn how to say no to some things, not because you are, see, once you put an obligation on me, you won't see me again. Trust me, you won't. I would one way just wiggle out because an obligation, it means that I have to die. No. If I was instructed to give you something, to do something for you, I'll do it. I don't care what it is, what you do. But if I don't have that instruction and you're saying, if you love me, you will do this, I will say sorry. Because what about if tomorrow you say, if you love me, you will go and get that thing for me? You don't know how John the Baptist's head was on the platter. I want to say thank you. It's been I kind of like the conversation, so don't think it's finished. I think we'll kind of wrap this up and take this into the new month. But I asked a question for those of you who are on the Nugget community platform. I said, there's no way we can serve you if we don't know where you are going to. If you don't know what it is that you want, you don't know what it is that you're looking to have. So if you have responded to me, I say thumbs up for you. But if you have not responded, and it's everyone on the platform, do that between now and Wednesday. We need to find out because if two can work together, I said there's an agreement. If I don't know where you're going, then guess what? I don't know how to help you. And if I don't know how to help you, don't be surprised if you're crying tomorrow, I don't ask you what's happening. Not because I am heartless, but because I don't know where you're going to. I don't know what it is that you want to accomplish. This is the last day in the month of April. April is just how many? April is just the 4th month of the year. So there's 8 more months in the year. What are you looking to do between now and the end of the year? What are your goals? What are your visions? What are your dreams? Share that with me. You have a phone number, you have an email. Let's know how we can help you, how we can be that support, that push, that challenge, that inspiration to you so that you can be your best, so that come the end of the year, you can say with every other person, this was a good year for me. And then I'll kind of wrap this up like this and say, thank you very much. I know it's been a while. We've extended our time, and I think I like that because this is really something touchy, entitlement, ambition, and also selective memory. But look at that. Do your research, do your checks and your balance. And I'll see you on Wednesday at 6 p.m. GMT time. It's 1 p.m. here in North America. And it's 12 p.m. Central time for real conversation with Aniekan. And we will kind of dig into what we've been looking at. What really are the questions? And we can take this to that as well and look at what's this entitlement thing. And so don't come to hear me, come to discuss. There's a conversation. So come to do it, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Thank you very much and have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.